Hey yo, I'm back with another video, and today I want to talk about UFC Fight Night Morales versus Burns, or Burns versus Morales, where Burns got finished in the very first round in a very brutal fashion, and that was hard to watch as somebody who has seen this, who has seen Burns for a very long period of time. And we'll talk about the main event. I made a lot of wrong predictions, and I made some good predictions as well, which were very easy. But before I start today's video, watch today's video at 1.5x speed so that it saves your time and you have a better experience, in my opinion, right? Watch it at 1.5x speed. Also, subscribe to my channel. I've got very few subscribers, so do subscribe to my channel. All right, all right. Without any further ado, let us start. Okay, you might be thinking, why do I have the picture of Paul Craig and Rodolfo Gelato on screen? Because Paul Craig versus Rodolfo Gelato was supposed to take place today. This was the co-main event of the fight night, but it did not take place. Apparently, Rodolfo Gelato pulled out because he had some kind of I don't know, he got sick. In some place, I saw a really funny Instagram post that said that Rodolfo Pilato probably suffered from a certain type of a disease. I'm not sure if that is true because it was not official, so I'm not going to talk about what happened. But it was kind of weird. But anyway, I would have been. Look, it does not matter if this fight did not take place. I guess we will see Paul Craig for a little more in UFC. Uh, yeah, it doesn't really matter. All right, let's just start talking about the rest of the fights. By the way, I did not watch the early prelims, but I got the early prelims correct. Tisha Pennington versus Luana Pinero. I say Pennington was going to win. She won. Hyun Sung Park versus Hernandez. Hyun Sung Park, he choked out Hernandez. Yeah, first round finished for Hyun Sung Park. I thought he was going to win by TKO or something. Dennis Gomez, again, she won as well. Luana Santos won against Dianara Lisboa. And Yadier Del Valle, he finished Connor Matthews in the first round. Jared Gordon lost won against Thiago Moises. Now, this was a surprise because I thought Thiago Moises would win this fight. But again, I was wrong. So it is what it is. I don't have no shame in accepting that I made a mistake. Again, Gabe Green versus uh, Camilo. I thought Matthews Camilo would win this fight, but he lost. But then again, I've never seen these two fighters fight ever. I don't even know who they were. Apparently, Matthews Camilo had the back of Gabe Green, but he could not finish a submission. And then eventually, Gabe Green got the win. Yeah, it is what it is, man. I don't really know who these fighters are, but it is what it is. But the main card, let's talk about the main card because I did watch each and every fight of the main card. This was such a good fight. This was such an entertaining fight. This was a really entertaining fight because round one, Costa was really close to kind of finishing Erosa, but he was not really close. Both of them, they laid it on the line. Both of them were hitting really hard shots. Even when the fight went to the ground, they were still doing that, still trying to be active on the ground. Erosa was trying to take the fight to the ground, and when Erosa went to the ground himself, he started kicking. He landed, I believe, an up kick to the face of Melicuezel Costa. Most probably, Costa won by three. Costa won all three rounds. I'm not exactly sure, but round one definitely Costa won that one. Round two, Erosa had some moments, but I think eventually Costa probably won that as one as well. I'm not sure about it, but round three, yeah, Melicuezel Costa he did enough to win the third round. I'm not sure, but he did. But it looked good. I mean, the entire fight looked really really good. That's all I'm trying to say. Uh, Julian Erosa, he has lost out of his last four. He has lost only this one. 81% said that Costa was going to win. I mean, of course, Costa was, I believe, a slight favorite. And in the last 3 months, not 3 months, in the last 5 months of 2025, Melicuezel Costa has fought three times in 2025. Look at his record. Like he has fought once in 2024, and then he has fought three times in 2025. He defeated Andre Fili. Wow, I said Gilly. He defeated Christian Rodriguez, the hype killer, and then he defeated Julian Erosa. And yeah, I mean, he has fought in February, he fought in March, and now he's fighting in May. So really, really active fighter. This guy might break the record of most number of fights a fighter has fought, most number of times a fighter has fought in a year. I think Costa might break that record. And he's the opposite of Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa fights once in 4 years. This guy fights three times in 1 year. So Really, really good fight, really entertaining fight. They probably got the fight of the night. Uh, I'm not sure about it. They might have gotten the fight of the night till the last round, till the last bell. Both of them were giving their 100%. Julian Eroso, even though he lost the fight, but he was a dog. He was even after taking a lot of punishment, after taking a lot of punches and elbows, he was still moving forward. The dude is really tough, and he's almost 36 years old. Yeah, you got to respect Julian Eroso, man. Really good performance by both of them. Let's move on. Nusrat Rusibiev versus Dustin Stolfers. I thought Rusibiev will easily destroy Stolfers, but that is not so the case. That is not at all the case because Dustin Stolfers gave a really tough fight to Nusrat Rusibiev. He gave a tough fight. He lost to Bruno Ferreira and Abus Magomedov, and Jarrell Mercheret, but still he gave a really tough fight to Nusrat Rusibiev, who's a giant. Nusrat is 6 feet 5. Again, Dustin Stolfers is not a small guy. He's 6 feet even, but still, Rusibiev was standing like a. I mean, Rusibiev looked like he belonged to the light heavyweight division, but still, uh, this fight was good as well. I think Stolfers landed a really good left hand, and then that's when Rusibiev probably got taken down as well. On the ground, Rusibiev was able to reverse some takedowns, and then eventually he also landed some really good shots. Uh, Rusibiev landed some really good spinning kicks on Dustin Stolfers, but those were not landing clean. But still, he did. But those kicks were doing some damage. I don't know if they did damage, but like, but from the perspective of if you're just watching the fight, those kicks were entertaining. But yeah, Nusratan had a better boxing. Stolfers, I think he tried to take the fight to the ground. On the ground, he was. I don't think he did a lot of damage on the ground. I think Rusibiev did more damage on the ground because every time Stolfers took Rusibiev to the ground, Rusibiev was able to reversed the takedowns and landed some really good ground and pound shots as well. But Stolfers, I think he had the power advantage. It's weird, right? How come someone who's bigger does not have the power advantage? But still, I mean, Dustin Stolfers did much better than what I thought he would do because I thought Rusibiev would just finish him in round 1 or round 2 with a TKO. But no, that was not so the case. But Stolfers did take some really bad damage to his face because he was bleeding profusely. Rusibiev, I think he probably landed some really good right hands and left hands. Like his punches were really on point. I don't think Rusibiev landed a lot of head kicks or anything. But I mean, yeah, those spinning head kicks they kind of landed, but they did not land clean. They didn't land clean. Stolfers was able to block them with his hands, so that was really interesting in my opinion as well. But as far as Rusibiev, I mean, he has had only one loss in UFC now. I don't know. Maybe they might give him some low-ranked opponent, maybe somebody in the top 15. If they give him Bo Nickel, I think he will destroy Bo Nickel. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to give any fight to Bo Nickel, but whatever. But yeah, really good performance by both of them. Really entertaining fight as well because they were bloodied. Especially Stolfers, he was bloodied. But yeah, interesting. I mean, Stolfers can win fights. Like, I don't know, he's a really reckless kind of a fighter as well, and he has power in his hands. But yeah, Nusrat Rusibiev, the dude can be a problem. Maybe he might become, I don't know if he'll become a champion, but he's definitely a top 10 kind of a fighter. He might get into the top 10 pretty soon. Mairon Santos versus Super Sodiq Yusuff. I picked Super Sodiq Yusuff to win this one. This is where I made a mistake. I should not have picked him to win. I should have picked Mairon Santos to win. But this was a close fight compared to the rest of the fights. But Mairon Santos, he did land some really good punches on Sodiq Yusuff. Sodiq Yusuff, I think in the first round, he probably landed more. I don't think he landed more. Probably those punches were not landing to the face of Mairon Santos. They were mostly landing on his shoulder and his hands, on his guard, in his guard. So maybe like they say that Sodiq Yusuff landed more significant strikes on Mairon Santos, but it did not look like that. Yusuff was landing some good leg kicks, but I think Santos, his leg kicks were more powerful compared to Sodiq Yusuff. The commentary was pretty much comparing Mairon Santos to an Anderson Silva, which is, I think, not a fair comparison because Santos is good, but he's not really that good. Anderson Silva was a different kind of a beast. Again, I might be wrong, but do I know? Mairon Santos is again only 25 years old. He has a really long time to grow. Sadiq Yusuf, 31, almost 32. He's going to turn 32 tomorrow. I don't know when he's going to turn 32. He's going to turn 32 like probably like next week. But this was a good fight, not exactly a super boring fight. Not exactly a very interesting fight either. I mean, it was kind of a fight, like, And yeah, Mairon Santos, I think he deserved to get the win. He did enough to get the win because Sodiq Yusuff was the only one who was bleeding. And again, it's not like a white guy who's bleeding because a white guy he gets cut and you can see that the blood is more visible, the cuts are more visible, the marks are more visible. But this is Sodiq Yusuff, so if a black guy is getting visible, then yeah, he has taken some damage, he has taken some beating. Now Myron Santos is, I believe, 2-0 in his UFC. I mean, I'm not going to consider this Canofli fight because this was the UFC tough finale, but I'm not going to take that into account. But he has won 2 fights. And again, Sodiq Yusuff at one point of time was ranked. Prior to Myron Santos, he has lost only to Arnold Allen, Diego Lopez, and Edson Barboza. So now that he has lost to Myron Santos, I don't know where they're going to put Myron Santos. He is 16-1. That's a really, really good record. His last loss was back in 2022. That was against Dan Argueta, ground and pound. But that was in 2022. He was probably only 22 years old at that point of time. So we need to put some respect to the name of Myron Santos. He did look good. I think he should take his time. He should take it slow. I don't think he's 5'7". He looked much bigger than that. I think he should just take his time, stay patient, take a couple of, take a couple of fights where he does not have to fight anybody ranked fighters, and then eventually he has to grow. And by the time he's like 28, he fights for the belt because he's only 25 at this point of time. He's going to turn 25 June 2000. So yeah, he's going to turn 25 next month. He should take his time, take it slow, eventually build up, and by the time he's like 27, 28, he should fight for the belt. Because if he fights for the belt, or I think the top 10 can do some, they can defeat him. I don't know about a lot of damage. Of course, he fights against somebody like John Silva, he's definitely going to do some damage. Either Amil is going to do some damage, but he needs to fight somebody who's not in the top 10. But he then defeated Sodiq Yusuff, a former ranked opponent who's also 31 years old, kind of in his prime. So yeah, I don't know. It's like a really interesting place that Myron Santos is in. But I made a mistake. Now the main event, I made a lot of mistake. I don't know why I thought Gilbert Burns would win this one. Oh, maybe because he has given a really tough fight to Hamzat Chimaev. He gave a really tough fight to Jack Della Maddalena, the current UFC welterweight champion. Gilbert Burns gave a really tough fight to Kamaru Usman in the very first round. Then he got knocked out in the second round. That's true. But in this fight, Michael Morales just big brothered him. He just bullied him. Is Michael Morales? Yeah, Michael Morales is 18-0, 18-5 undefeated. That is very similar to Shavkat Rakhmonov. That is very similar to JDM, Jack Della Maddalena. And when you look at his age, he's only 25. He's going to turn 26 pretty soon. I believe there's like 2 months left for him to turn 26. So he is a really good fighter that we have realized. Or maybe Gilbert Burns, Durinho. I guess it's time for Durinho to call it. It's time. It's time, Durinho. It's time to leave the UFC. It's time to leave MMA. Maybe continue doing jiu-jitsu. Maybe become a coach. He can be a really good coach. A world-class Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner. I believe he was a world champion, a national champion, or something. So I don't know, man. The dude also has a really good podcast. Maybe it's time for him to retire because Michael Morales destroyed him in the very first round. Even when Burns took Morales to the ground, Morales was able to get back up instantly. Right at the moment, Morales got back up, and then he was able to remove the hands of Gilbert Burns and then eventually get the finish. And Morales was landing clean. Even Gilbert Burns landed a couple of good shots on Morales, but those were not doing the kind of damage that you expect Morales to. You expect Morales will get hurt, but he wasn't. I believe the reason is Morales is very young, 26. Kind of he's not even in his prime. When you look at it with the lens of MMA, he's not in his prime. His prime is going to be from around 28 to 33 up there. Those 5 years because ADM became a champ at 28. He's 26 and he's undefeated. Really tall, 6 feet. I think he probably might be bigger than 6 feet. He's really athletic. He can hit hard, and the fact that he did, like the way he made Gilbert just crumble and just cover up around, like cover up against the cage. We haven't seen Gilbert Burns break down like that. We have seen him get knocked out. We have seen him take a lot of damage, but still keep fighting. But in this fight, like Burns, after he took those punches against the cage in that finishing sequence, we could see Gilbert Burns kind of being broken. Like even after the fight was stopped, he was kind of broken. I guess it's time for Mourinho to retire. But let's talk about Michael Morales to be more specific. If I keep seeing the picture of Morales, I'll keep talking about him. Michael Jonathan Morales Hurtado, Spider-Man. I think is that his nickname? I'm not exactly sure, but he should definitely they should definitely call him Spider-Man. Uh, yeah, I mean his mother was there. Apparently, his mother was also a judoka. I mean, both his parents were really athletic. He's from Ecuador. The dude shows like look at his physique and everything, and he's one of those fighters that is not very like he wasn't a really big name prior to today, prior to this fight. He wasn't really that guy that everyone was talking about, but he is 18 and 0. He's 26, 18 and 0, physically a specimen. Like he's a really big welterweight, and he's also not exactly completely filled up. He's only 26. By the time he's like 28, 29, he's only going to get bigger. He's going to get more stronger. Like he's going to get stronger. He's going to get more, I don't know, like experience wise as well. He's going to get better. So yeah, he fights out of Mexico. I think he's probably training there. But what do you do with Morales? Because he did, I mean, he's undefeated. He destroyed Gilbert Burns in the very first round, who was probably ranked. Where was Gilbert ranked? I think most probably Gilbert was number 7. Yeah, Gilbert is ranked number 8. So if Gilbert is ranked number 8, there is a good chance Michael Morales is going to be ranked number 7 or maybe number 8. Gilbert is most probably going to go down. Uh, if Michael Morales defeats Gilbert Burns, what do you do with Michael Morales next? That's my question. Does he fight against Joaquin Buckley, Ian Machado Gary, Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards, Shavkat Rakhmonov, or Sean Brady, or Belal? Who does he fight against? Belal and Leon are the only 2 fighters who are not having any fights. And of course, Sean Brady and Ian Gary are also not having any fights. I think he wants to fight Ian Gary. Michael Morales, he probably wants to fight Ian Gary. And I can see him giving a lot of trouble to Ian Gary because Ian Gary has always been the taller fighter. In his last fight, he was taller than Carlos Prates, but Carlos Prates, I don't know what he did in that fight, but even Carlos Prates was pretty close to finishing Ian Gary. I think this guy can probably finish Ian Gary. We never saw Ian Gary deal with a lot of grapplers, but we saw him. He already dealt with arguably the second best grappler in this division. I mean, Kamaru Usman is of course a really good grappler, but and Sean Brady is. I'm going to consider him number 1. Of course, Belal is up there, but the way this guy is built, he isn't built like Carlos Prates. Carlos Prates is not exactly built like Morales. We haven't really seen a lot of grappling from Carlos Prates, but his grappling is good. His grappling is decent. But Michael Morales, where do we put this guy? Like, who does he fight next? He's 18 and 0. He's undefeated. The only undefeated guy apart from him is Shavkat Rakhmonov, who I believe is 19 and 0 at this point of time. What is his record? Yeah, he's 19 and 0. One more fight, and Michael Morales will be in the same place as Shavkat Rakhmonov. And also, Shavkat is really old compared to Michael Morales. So Shavkat is probably like 30, 31. I don't know how old Shavkat is, but he's definitely older than Michael Morales. So, yeah, and Michael Morales has won all his fights in UFC in a very dominant fashion. And there were no split decision or such thing in his career. Initially, he was winning with unanimous decision and now with finishes. So I genuinely do not know where you put Michael Morales. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see him versus a Leon Edwards kind of a fight, or maybe I don't think they're going to make Michael Morales versus Sean Brady. I think they'll probably make Michael Morales versus Ian Gary. I would like to see that fight, or maybe he should fight the loser of Joaquin Buckley versus Kamaru Usman. If he defeats, look, imagine this guy defeats Gilbert Burns and then Kamaru Usman. He's going to get a title shot right after that, and also he's undefeated. Imagine how cool it would be if Michael Morales defeats Gilbert Burns, right? He has defeated Gilbert Burns, and then in his next fight, he fights against Kamaru Usman or maybe Leon Edwards and finishes them the way he finished Gilbert Burns. If he finishes Gilbert Burns, there is a potential that he can finish those 2 fighters as well. And also, he's really young. He's only going to get better. He's going to turn 26. The next time he fights, he'll be 26. When he fights for the belt, he'll only be like 28, just like JDM. And he's undefeated, and he has been tested in UFC. So, yeah, I mean, what do you do with this guy? I don't know. I just genuinely don't know, because welterweight right now is looking like a killer's row. Like everybody in the top 6, top 7 can be a champion apart from Ian Gary. I just don't think this is weird. Let's just call it what it is. I'm going to say Michael Morales, I'm going to consider him at number 8. All right. Let's just consider Michael Morales at number 8 Joaquin Buckley at number 7, Ian Machado Gary at number 6, Kamaru Usman at 5, uh, Leon Edwards at number 4, and Bilal. Like, let us just remove Bilal, Leon, and Kamaru. I don't think they're going to become champion again because they're old. They're old. Leon is not exactly very old. He's only 33, but Kamaru and Bilal are very old. I don't see Bilal getting a title shot ever. I don't think they never let Bilal touch the belt. But look at this: Sean Brady, Shafkat, Joaquin Buckley, Ian Machado Gary, and now Michael Morales. This is a crazy division. But yeah, I guess I can keep talking about this fight, like Michael Morales, because I'm really fascinated by the welterweight division more than just Morales. But yeah, sad for Gilbert Burns. I've seen this guy fight ever since he fought against Dan Hooker, but even before that, he was fighting and winning fights in lightweight division. I've seen this guy for like God knows, like 8 years now. So it's kind of sad to see him lose like that, but it is what it is. Uh, this is the fight game. Someone wins, someone loses. And yeah, I guess I don't have much to talk about. I guess that's it from today's video. If you enjoyed today's video, then like, comment, and share. Write something in the comments, maybe something for Durinho, maybe something for Michael Morales. I don't know what you want to write, but write something in the comments. And please subscribe to my channel. I've got very few subscribers. And I guess peace out.